I want to spend this segment talking about a report that was issued by Young Republicans. It's called the Grand Old Party for a Brand New Generation. Now, those two things really don't go together, but this report is actually pretty groundbreaking for the fact that it came from, you know, Republicans. This came from the college Republicans, were the ones who sort of put this report out to the public. And there's a couple pieces. Now I'm reading through this report. It's a 90-page long report. I'm not all the way through, but I promise as I find more groundbreaking things from this report, and it's by the College Republicans National Committee, I will continue to talk about this because I think it's imperative that as progressives we pay attention here. And the reason why I'm saying we need to pay attention, this reminds me of and if everybody remembers this, Celine Dion during Katrina gave an interview to Larry King, and she was talking about the people looking for help. And it's a scene where she goes like, "Hello," and she has her hands like, and they're saying, "Hello, hello." And to progressives, I think this is saying, "Hello, hello." This should be, any progressive leader of a progressive organization should read this report, because even though this report is about fixing the grand old party, some of the problems that they isolate, that these young people in these focus groups isolate, are problems that progressives have as well. Now, I'll give you one, for example. One of the things that they ask them is, where do they get their news from? So they ask 18 to 29-year-olds, where do you get your political news from? And here is what they said. 58%, and this is like once a week. So how do you get your news? The percentage of get your news at least, you get your news from this source at least once a week. 58% said Facebook. Okay, that's a dead giveaway. But this one is one that I've been talking about for the past year. I've been talking about this piece. The number 2 place where they get their political news from is local television. Now, 56% of them say they get the news from local television at least once a week. That's 56% of young people surveyed said at least once a week I get my news from local television. Progressives. I'm not talking to Republicans, because they're trying to get their house in order. Because they produced this report, and I'm pretty sure the Karl Roves of this world are roaming through it. I mean, clearly Bill O'Reilly condemned the report, but Bill O'Reilly's an idiot. I'm talking about like the smart Republicans, the Rance Priebus's of this world. They've read this report, and they're combing through it to find out how they fix their party. And we on the progressive side are sitting twiddling our thumbs like, oh, we have the young vote. We don't got to worry about it. That's how we thought in 2010. We said we have the woman vote. We don't got to worry about it. And then we lost women. And the way they talk about this local news part, they say young people get their political news from local news. And I say to myself, what are we doing as progressives to infiltrate local news? Answer, absolutely, positively nothing. We're not doing anything. When was the last time you watched local news on political issues and found progressive messaging, or found a progressive guest, or found a progressive action? What you see and I'm not talking about the Beltway, I'm not talking about major cities, because that's not where most of our voters lie. I'm talking about, random parts, Akron, Ohio. How much progressive messaging is getting out in Akron, Ohio? Or better yet, a city that we're in, Cowlington, Oklahoma. How much progressive news is getting out in Cowlington, Oklahoma on local television? None. But the greatest part about being at zero is it's not very hard to create growth. We as a movement need to do a better job of getting out there and talking to young people and talking to all voters, but especially young people in these local areas. Right? Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the rest of the report, because I think it's also eye-opening. 44% of them say they go to Yahoo News. 40% say CNN. 38% says hard copy newspapers. 36% say Fox News. 36% say they get their news at least once a week from Fox. I digress. Now, and for all those progressives who say, I don't go on Fox, I don't believe in Fox, I don't watch Fox, you see what you're leaving cards on the table. Because conservatives come on MSNBC. Hell, conservatives will come on my program. They've been on my program. Conservatives go on Tom Hartman's program. But we won't go on Fox. Talk to so many great progressive groups that do great work. They're like, oh, we don't go on Fox. Well, 38% of young people get their news from Fox. Why aren't you on Fox? Why aren't you talking to Fox viewers? It's not about the network. right? It's not about the Fox News network and what the stuff they do and the spin they do and their quote unquote fair balance nature and non-fair balance nature. It's not about that. It's about talking to the people that are watching Fox. It's not about Rupert Murdoch. It's not about that. It's not about Roger Ailes. It's not about that. It's about talking to people who watch Fox. But I digress. Let me continue. Then they say, they go to newspaper websites like the New York Times, blogs, 31% say they go to blogs, 30% say they go to MSN News, 29% say they watch a daily show for their news, 28% say Twitter, and close to the bottom, fourth up from the bottom, is our progressive friends, MSNBC, which 27% say they watch that at least once a week. So I say to myself, I love MSNBC. I'm on MSNBC from time to time. But if we as progressives only focus on going to MSNBC to get our message out there, we're losing, what is that? Almost 70% of young people, because they don't go there. That's not their mainstay for getting news. CNN is ahead of that. Fox is ahead of that. You see where I'm going with this, progressives? If we want to truly change the dialogue or how we communicate to young people, we have to start by changing how we build our communication apparatus. Right? I understand 19% of the voting population are young people, and they voted with the president in both great numbers in 2008 and 2012. And they stayed with Democrats in 2010. But the Republican Party is trying to make inroads into this voting bloc. We could either do one of two things. Either one, we can choose to play this game that we always play, which is, we care about young people. Look, we didn't increase our student loan interest rates. We care. Or you could do we made Obamacare for 3.1 million young people. We care. When in hindsight, and the facts say that for every dollar spent on Social Security, only 30 to 40 cents is spent on people between the age of 35 and under. There are more Social Security protection groups in Washington, D.C. that are more well-funded than young people groups. Don't get me wrong. As young people, we care about Social Security. But if you spend your whole time defending voters that are getting ready to go to the grave, and spend no time working on locking down voters that are getting ready to become parts of our society and become young adults and get older and become a greater part of our society and become 80% of the voting bloc, 80% of the voting population, we have problems. The reason why senior citizens are so dedicated to the Democratic Party has a lot to do with the fact that we protect Social Security and Medicare, but it also has a lot to do with the fact that they came into the Democratic Party under people like the Kennedys. And the Kennedys nurtured them. The Kennedys passed policies that supported them. The Kennedys sent them to college. LBJ gave them benefits. LBJ produced policies that benefited the Great Society. That's what they grew up in. But if we want to make young people continue to be part of our progressive frame and our progressive voting tent, we have to do things to work for young people. Beyond the fact that we need to communicate to them better by going to local television and going to local news and getting on Facebook and getting more people on Fox News, we can't communicate a youth message with an old person. We can't communicate a youth message with a progressive that is over 80 or over 75 or over 50. How does that work? It doesn't work. We need to be much more smarter. We need to be leaner. We need to be greener fighting machine when it comes to protecting and maintaining the youth voting bloc. And we could only do that if we come up with innovative ways to do it. It's more than just saying we believe in young people. Look, my secretary is a young person. No. Hire young people to be in leadership positions at your organizations. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all out there. I know I'm pissing people off, but I'm spitting real knowledge here. And we'll tell you that, yeah, we do watch local news. And we'll tell you that, yeah, some of us do watch Fox. But it requires, as progressives, not only do we change our policies, but we change how we source our information out to the broader public. We can't depend upon We can't depend upon MSNBC and our talk radio news friends to get our information out there, because only 27% of people do MSNBC get their news from there. Only 21% get their news from talk radio. We could have a problem, progressives, if we don't do prevention. My mom always told me one thing growing up: prevention is always better than cure.